Oh, yeah, this is going to be a good show today. We got a legend in the house. Woo! TK, you jacked up?
I'm ready to rumble.
All right, what about Teddy?
I'm fired up.
We got the man of Florida, Mr. Defoe, in the house with us.
Great to be on with you guys. Unbelievable. What a crew you have here, Scotty.
Let's do it.
What?
All right, guys, we are back. This is Get the Edge. We are jacked up, man. We got a legend in the house with us today. You hear it in my voice, a legend. Over 40 years, sports broadcasting in South Florida. We're going to bring him on in just a minute. But I want to introduce my illustrious crew that's with me each and every week. This is the one and only, as I said, Get the Edge. Can you believe it? It's week 3 of the NFL already and week 4 of college football. I want to welcome on the CEO of the Sports Prophets, Teddy Brooks.
Good to be here. Excited to have Jeff DeForest here. I used to listen to Jeff. My grandpa actually would take me to school every single day.
Oh, boy.
And we would listen to you. We'd listen to Hank Goldberg.
Sick degenerate that he was. Yes.
Yeah. So those
may he rest in peace.
Yes, may he rest in peace.
Checked out on his birthday. I mean, is that a good omen, though?
Wow.
I mean,
Did he really?
Yeah, July 4th was his birthday. I was going to
a
give him a call. I
celebration.
remember I was going to give him a call that day because I was coming out to Las Vegas to celebrate my own birthday. And next thing you know, I get the news that he checked out.
Wow.
But great guy. It was way ahead of the time when nobody in broadcasting would ever talk about degenerate gambling.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it today. Now, they used to come down the hall when we were on the radio together with a sledgehammer ready to break the glass and say, if you guys don't stop talking about this crap, we're going to take you off the air and your contracts are in the shredder.
I think that had an influence on me because I was 11, 12, 13 years old getting taken to school.
And look at you now.
And I was listening to this and look
So
at me
happy,
now.
yeah, they're sending you down a sordid path.
Guys, we're forgetting about one of our main men on this show here, the one and only Tommy King, TK. What's up, TK?
Hey, man, great to be back this week. Like you said, it's already week 3, week 4 of college football. I'm ready to go. I'm back this week, so I told last week I won't be back if I lost, but I'm back here this week.
Where was he? Costa Rica, Scotty?
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he looks refreshed.
I was all over.
This guy was in Baja, Atlantis, Puerto Rico.
Nice.
He was moving and grooving.
It was a great vacation.
All right, good, man. Well, listen, Defoe, talk to me. I mean, we've known each other a long time.
Long time. I was trying to figure that out, just how long we've known each other. Somebody asked me to vouch for you yesterday, and I thought, do I vouch for this guy? Yeah, I've known him like 30 years. He's always been a good guy. And, it's good to be here. I was thinking you've probably been on, like 100 of my shows?
Probably,
So
over
it's
the
a
years.
pleasure to be here with your crew here on the edge and, trying to figure out what we're going to do to make some money this week, Scotty.
Well, we got a lot of things going on. This is what we do, guys. Obviously, we look to get that winning edge, and that's why we got the team right here, my experts. Over 85 years sitting right here on the panel. That doesn't even include Defoe. If we're going to go with Defoe, we're talking.
We're going over 100.
We're going over the century mark.
Century mark now at the table.
But we got a lot of good things to talk about. I really want to kick it in because, hey, Thursday night, man, we got a nice little matchup in the AFC East. The New England Patriots take the show on the road against the New York Jets. And this is a game I have a very strong opinion on, but I wanted to kick it off with Teddy and see what your thoughts are on that matchup.
I'm not excited about this
You're not
matchup at
excited?
all, guys. No, I mean, the one thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing if Aaron Rodgers can progress a little bit. Like, looked a little bit better last week, but I'm still not sold on the offense. I'm not sold on the Patriots. Both these teams are looking solid on D.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to bet this game, which I know you really want to talk about this game, so I'm going to throw something out there. But if I had to bet this game, the only thing I could think of taking is the under in this thing.
Okay. 38.5 was showing as the number on that game right now.
Yeah.
Under?
Under.
Just
Because I have to.
A lean?
Because you told me I have to pick something in this game.
All right. Well, I know that this gentleman over here, Tommy King, has got a strong play on this game, so I want to see what he's thinking about this New England Jets game Thursday night, AFC East.
I'm looking at it just like you. I kind of like this game. Very solid play for me this week on Thursday. I'm taking the Pats.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going with the stat. I mean, the Jets are 0-6 against the spread on Thursday night. That's a big trend right there. You got the Patriots 5-0 their last 6 against the spread. I mean, a good number here. I might pull one of your plays off and buy a point on this one, get it up to 7. and get a little sharper line on this
Well, it
game.
depends on when you get that play in, because right now that line is showing it's going to drop down a little bit. It opened 6.5. It's creeped down to 6 and 5.5 some spots. So you better lock in early. Yeah, we're doing these shows obviously days ahead of time, but it's always good to get that early number. Well, I know this guy knows about the AFC East. I mean, who knows better than a guy that's been following the Dolphins for 40 years of his life?
Many years, mired in mediocrity.
What do you think
as we were
about that
talking about.
matchup, Defoe?
Very interesting. Nobody would have given 2 cents for the chances of the Patriots to do anything this year. In fact, survivor pool players we're talking about, and look what happened in week number 1. You had a choice of maybe just using a strategy of bet against the Patriots or the Panthers until they started to show some signs of life, and then maybe you back off. So everybody got in on that first game, Bengals,
Right.
And it was the biggest spread on the board. The Patriots beat them outright. Was there an element of luck there, as there is in virtually every NFL game? It's almost like playing roulette, maybe even Russian roulette at this point.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
you're trying to will an empty chamber. I mean, just look at the game the other night, Monday night. It looks like it's decided that you're going to, get out of it with a push.
Kirk
They were
Cousins
laying
miracle.
6 with Philadelphia, and Vic Fangio enters the picture and says, let me just part like the Red Sea and play no defense whatsoever. They march down the field, they get a touchdown. So it's been very strange.
Yep. You got a
The
lean
Jets,
on it?
not overwhelmingly impressive, in their victory over the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis, I mean, you saw him getting chewed out. When do you ever see that anymore, where a quarterback comes off the field and the coach grabs him like he was Bill Parcells and says, you
I
do
like
that again,
it.
you're
I
on the
think
bench.
it's good to see. I think we need to see more of it.
Maybe so, but at the same time, they get the cover in that ball game. A lot of people were panicking.
Late
Can the
cover, right?
Patriots do it again? I mean, the Patriots they're in their ball game against Seattle the following week, losing overtime. Seattle, a lot of people like them. I'm inclined, and I grew up a Jet fan. I worked at Shea. I was selling souvenirs there when the juice behind the electric company went for 2,000 yards that year.
Oh, yeah.
And I was
There
at
you
the
go.
AFC Championship game in '68 when they beat the Raiders with the Don Maynard catch.
Yep.
So I have a little attachment to the Jets. That doesn't sway me in terms of betting on them because I think they play under a curse. But I might be inclined, now that the line's going down, seeing a wise guy money go in, to say, yeah, the Jets maybe win this one by 2 touchdowns.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I know you're going to tell me that I'm crazy.
I think
Wow.
you're crazy.
Because you are, I mean, if it wasn't for Tom Brady, you would be the best looking guy on TV.
There you go.
I have
love it.
I have a quick stat. So when you have a road dog and that number crosses from 6.5 down through 5.5, so either to 5.5 or down to 5, and the total is also coming down, over 30 situations over the last 2 years that's happened,
Okay.
that road dog has covered 87% of the time.
Wow.
And the
That
Patriots
doesn't
are
bode
5-0
well
as
for
a
my
dog.
chances. There goes my theory out
But
the
I'm
window.
still not doing anything
Nice.
crazy. I actually
We got to rip the tickets up.
I'm using that for a game on Sunday.
That was a great
so I'll
stat,
say
though. That was
yeah.
a great stat.
It's almost like Bronx Tale when he was.
Where do you find these guys, Scotty? That was brilliant.
This is what they do, Defoe. These guys, all they do is eat, sleep, and
That's-
shit.
that is
sports.
great.
All right, listen, I got to get serious here. I absolutely love New England. I'm going to tell you reasons why. Number one, I think they're playing on a high. They got the new coach. They're trying to, position themselves. They won the first game very handily. The second game, they could have won and been 2-0. If they were 2-0 going into this matchup, this line would never even see a 6 or 6.5. No chance. This line would have been a 3, maybe even 2.5, maybe 3 at the most. So I'm looking at this game from both sides of the ball. The Jets are not impressing me on offense. I don't care if they won last week. They didn't win handily. They won in a tight game against a team that's really not that good. New England is playing well. They're both sides of the ball. They're playing, they're not making mistakes really on the offense, and their defense is showing up. I love the line on this game. I would buy it up to 7. I wouldn't even think twice. Right now, if you can lock it in at 6, buy the point, make it 7. Enjoy this one. Patriots get the job done. Best bet.
Still a lot of 6.5s out there too,
Yeah.
so you don't even have to buy a whole point.
I feel like Fireman Ed is going to be running naked across the field
Yeah.
at some point.
Well, in games like this, I got to
That's
be
a
honest.
tough call, though. I'm with Ted. I don't know that I really have a strong opinion about that game. I probably would stay out of that if I had the opportunity. I would pass on that game. It's a tough call.
Yeah,
with
well,
the points.
Listen, AFC East.
You
I mean,
love the Patriots, though.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Not as much as I used to.
Disclaimer: he's from Boston, so
That's okay. My work goes into my work. It
you
doesn't go
go.
where I'm from.
there you go. Well,
I
that's
don't-
going to
I
apply to
don't
my
pl-
picks too.
I don't
so-
play with the heart. I play with my head. And that's why I do this for a living. But listen, we got a big day of action going on. Defo, this time of year, you got to be juiced up
Couldn't
too,
be
right?
any better. I mean, we haven't even
College
gotten
football.
into baseball. You got college football, meaningful games. A wild game last night, even here in town, where everybody's thinking the Dodgers are a cinch over the Marlins,
Right.
who have thrown in the towel. We had inside information. Probably the best piece of inside information I ever had was the Marlins under this year, from a guy that in your lifetime you would never imagine would have a negative thing to say about the Marlins organization. He calls me before the season. He says 79 is a number they will never come close to.
Really?
And sure enough, he was right. So,
Wow.
so that was good. But I mean, even last night, you had a lot of good stuff bouncing around with no football. And then you have some interesting games. I don't know about the Thursday night game so much, but Friday, you got Nebraska in action, kind of an interesting team this year.
Yep.
And then I have a friend that you're now also in association with who absolutely loves Florida State laying 2 at home to California. California comes in 3-0. They just covered a point spread of 18 and a hook against San Diego State. But he thinks that this is like the Washington Generals going in there to beat the Globetrotters. They may as well have red clots on the sidelines.
Wow.
That Florida State will dominate in spite of the fact that they're off to an 0-3 start.
All right.
So it's great, though. This is what I love about gambling. He asked me, he says, yeah, you're tied in a little bit with the Florida State program, which I'm not. But, he says, can you get a sense of, has the team thrown in the towel or anything? Are they quitting on Norvell? And
What a difference,
The
huh?
answer
You
is, it depends who you talk to, right? I don't know. I mean, what do you think about this ball game? Would you lay 2 at home?
I don't like Florida State, to be honest with you, the way they're playing right
This
now.
guy loves those guys.
Can't trust them. Can't trust them.
You might have to make a call on the West Coast.
West Coast. Well, I know this gentleman over here, TK, has got a big-time play going on Saturday he wants the audience to know about, so I'm going to turn it over to him. What's your big play on Saturday, college football?
College football Saturday, my best bet is a big SEC matchup, Tennessee against Oklahoma. I'm telling you right now, I'm all over this one. I already bet it early. Let's see what the current line is now. It's up to 7. I already had it at 6 early.
Yeah.
But I'm going all over Tennessee on this one. They're 3-0 as a favorite this year. They've absolutely destroyed teams. They won 71-0 last week, 51-10 the week before.
Yeah.
They're 4-0 against the spread their last 4 games. And another stat, Oklahoma 0-6 against the spread as an underdog at home.
Okay.
So that's my best bet. I'm
they're
jumping
very
all
rare.
over 'em.
They're very rare, an underdog at home, Oklahoma. It hasn't happened too many times, probably in a long time.
I mean, I loved SEC football. I mean, that's the top ones out there.
They got to be really thinking this Tennessee team is the real deal Holyfield to make them a 7-point favorite on the road.
Tennessee
against,
looks good, though, don't
Yeah.
they? They're
Oh,
very
yeah.
They're
impressive.
putting
so
up
far.
big
they're
points.
both 3-0 right now.
The other game where you had a home underdog, that was kind of odd. I don't know, maybe this is the carryover of the championship from last year, but is Michigan not awful? I mean, should they be only laying 5 and a hook to USC? What do we think about that, guys?
Oh, I'm all over that game, actually, Jeff. So, yeah, they are they're dogs right now. They're 5.5-point dogs. In the summer,
In the big house.
In the summer, they were 10-point favorites when the pre-line came out.
Wow.
So it's very rare a line moves that big.
Yeah.
I'm all over USC in this one. It's their first Big Ten matchup. Lincoln Riley for the first time.
Line's showing down a little bit to 5 now.
5. Okay.
Even better.
Okay. So Lincoln Riley, the big gripe with USC last year was no defense, right?
Yes,
They had Caleb, they had the offense, no defense. He shut a team out this year. Finally, he shut a team out, and they upset LSU. Listen, Michigan does have a solid defense, and they do have home field advantage, but that's all they have in this game. They have nothing else.
No quarterback.
No quarterback, no offense. The offense is a mess. Miller Moss for USC, he slid right into Caleb's spot, and he's covering it well. He's looking good.
All right.
Little number for you in offensive efficiency.
Yep.
USC is 5th in defensive efficiency, while Michigan's D is solid. It's still only 47th. I'm all over USC on this one as the favorite. I don't even need to move the point. And really quick, just wanted to say
anything else?
This is the difference between the SEC and other teams. You see Florida State, they lose a bunch of players to the draft, they fall apart. Michigan loses a bunch of players to the draft, they fall apart. The SEC teams, what do? They just replace and keep moving forward. And that's really a difference in why 6 out of the top 10 teams right now
Alabama,
are SEC.
Tennessee, Georgia. Look at-
I'm a
what
big
power.
Trojan fan, from
This-
my days in California. So
are you?
nice to see him resurrect the program. Everybody was questioning what was Lincoln Riley doing. I mean, the defense last year was an atrocity.
Yeah.
He nearly got Caleb Williams killed. There was some question whether he was worthy of being the number one pick after the last few games
Yep.
that we saw were catastrophic for USC. But this spot, I thought that line was kind of curious because Michigan hasn't impressed me at all. So
I mean, they played against. Listen, Texas is a monster, so you got to kind of throw that game out. I mean, Texas is a powerhouse. I mean, they went into Michigan and did what they did best, but now they're coming back playing against probably I don't know if I could rate USC as good as Texas at this point. I think Texas definitely
probably
shines.
a notch below, at least
Yeah.
in terms
I think
of perception.
offensively they're
Yeah.
pretty
So
close.
another week to get prepared for another good opponent. I mean, USC hasn't proven anything really yet. They played a close game in their first game. Yeah, they won last week.
And they're coming off a week of rest too. USC is.
Yeah, that's definitely a help, especially when you're traveling from the West Coast to the East
I'll
Coast.
give you an indicator. A good friend of mine is a huge Michigan backer.
Oh boy.
And he's been trying to sell his tickets online. He has season tickets, but he can't get to the game. He lives here in South Florida.
Okay.
No takers, man. He's had to drop the price like he was selling a duplex in Hialeah.
No one wants to go to that game? Really?
I mean,
Wow.
and these are highly coveted tickets by the Michigan fans usually. So that may tell you something about where the team is at right now.
Well,
That's like the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers. They're selling tickets on StubHub for $1.
there's nothing worse than the Florida Panthers. TK will tell you they think they sold tickets for like $5 and they give you hot dogs all night long.
There you go.
Hey, they
They're
their,
rarity.
basically paying you to come to the games.
their ticket prices are still higher than the White Sox. So
By the way,
look at that.
I was watching ESPN today. First Take, they had what's his name, the sportscaster that comes on Wednesdays. Oh God, I forget his name. It comes on with Stephen A. Smith.
Oh yeah, I don't watch too much Stephen A.
Yeah. But anyways, they ranked the 5 worst franchises in the history of sports. What
Okay.
do you think number 1 was that they ranked?
The worst franchise in the history of sports.
Yeah. Florida Marlins is what he said his number 1 pick was. They
have
said
two
Carolina,
at this
Pan-
point they are for sure, but
of all
they
the
still have the
mistakes.
2
They have
titles.
2 titles. I mean,
Yeah, but-
that's a little tough.
Well, after breaking up the teams
Yeah.
and all the other stuff.
They break them up. Yeah, they
Total ugliness, I mean, just total ugliness. Literally, and we were talking about it before. The worst job in all the sports right now. I used to be the teaser horse on a stud farm. Worst job in sports, where they, the one male horse would get the females lathered up to go
like
in
the
and,
fluffer.
and bang like Storm
like the
Cat.
fluffer.
Yep.
But now it's like being in the Marlins boiler room trying to talk people into buying season tickets
Oh my
that
God.
were season ticket holders at any time in the past.
Could you imagine having that job that you're trying to work for the ticket office of the Marlins?
I mean, that's
how do you present
that's
that?
a rough go, yeah.
How do you
rough go.
present that package?
Yeah, we're gonna be good.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
Before we jump to the NFL on Sunday, did you have anything else, TK, you liked, or is that it?
that was my top play. That's all I'm playing, the Tennessee Oklahoma
mas.
game.
Okay, because I have a strong play I'm putting out on Saturday. I love Utah. I'm going to play it on the money line. They're -2 right now against Oklahoma State. I just think Utah's the stronger of these 2 programs. I really like the way they're playing. Both teams undefeated, I get it. But I just think Utah is the stronger team. Both sides of the ball, I think they have the edge on this matchup. So I'm taking Utah in that game, and I'm going to make it a money line play. That's my only and best bet for the whole card on Saturday.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a match, guys. I'm on the same game.
Wow.
So I'll add a little bit more trends
We
to
got a
it.
parlay working here. USC -5 and,
Right. Oh, yeah.
and Utah.
I
Money line.
love Utah. Now, the thing is, Cam Rising has to play in order for me to make this bet, but I think he's going to. Oklahoma, I'm sorry, Utah, Whittingham, the coach of Utah,
Yep.
when a dog are favored by 6 or less, he's 63-46 against the spread. It's a good coaching matchup. It really is. Gundy and Whittingham, 2 very good coaches. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, if Cam Rising plays, I am all over Utah. With him at the helm, with the run game that they have, with the defense they have, they're allowing 3.2 yards per carry on the ground.
Lethal.
And you know how many they're averaging on offensively on the ground? 192.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna.
No, this Utah team's no joke.
This is a real deal.
This
team
is a tough test for Oklahoma State. If they win this game, I mean, Oklahoma State could have a huge season. I don't see it happening. No, I think Utah's going to have the huge season.
These 2 teams could meet again for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's going to be a great match.
One other game I really liked also, you got Boston College -6.5 against Michigan State. This is a night game. They're making this game a night game, so it's going to give a little draw an audience onto these teams. I like the dog in this game. I like Michigan State. I think it's a big number. Michigan State's playing real well. I mean, they don't play pretty. They play sloppy good. And BC, they came up, but they lost last week. I think that Michigan State somehow, some way, will find a way to stay in it. They can cause turnovers. They can make things happen. And I think if I can get this line to +7, which is not a big deal to go from 6.5 to 7, I like the dog in this game at +7 with Michigan State. I just think right now they're playing it good enough to keep themselves in the game against BC. And BC really, they beat Florida State week 1, but we both know right now Florida State's in a shell shock kind of team. They're not playing well right now. So I don't know if I give that a lot of weight, that win, but I think Michigan State can get the job done and stay in this game. Take the 7 with Michigan State, guys.
All right, strong stuff from you guys. Wow.
I wanted to ask you something. When I was on your show, by the way, I'm going to tell everyone about your show that you have as well.
Bury Your Bookie.
Right, Bury Your Bookie on netfilter.net.
No filter.
No filter. Excuse me. No filter. NOfilter.net. You asking me a question about the money line parlays. I'd like you to mention it to these guys.
Well, and I got it from our buddy Troy West, who has a thing, Troy Wins, and I'm sure he'll be a guest on your show sometime down the road.
That's so weird. He just DM'd me on Saturday, and he saw the content and the footage, and he DM'd me. I haven't really gotten with him yet, but
real good guy.
Awesome.
I had him on my show. He comes on with me every Wednesday. We got Scotty every Tuesday on the program, so it's great. And he's the guy that loves Florida State this week. He was thinking about making the biggest bet of the season that he had so far. All in. I mean, it's Johnny Chan time, man. He's shoving all in. There's Seidel. He doesn't realize the guy flopped it straight, and he's been cold playing him the whole time. Yep. Sucked him right in there for the championship. But, the game we were talking about was... we
were just talking in general
the parlay,
about playing the money line.
The money line parlay. Right. Kind of interesting. I mean, look, you're playing parlays. I don't know. Can we use some salty language here, Scotty M? Is it okay?
I mean, that's up to Ben.
Ben, what do you say? Is there any kind of censorship on this?
No, of course. You can use whatever you want.
If you go to a French-English dictionary and you look up the word parlay, it means you're fucked in French. And everybody will tell you this. I mean, but this is where the action is these days. People are betting 9, 10, 12 teams parlays.
Yeah, they love it.
You see it all the time. I'm looking at my son's ticket. He's got 17 teams. $5 to win 90,000. It's unbelievable if you hit one. But this is how FanDuel and these betting sites are making all of their money. It's not off the Sharpies that are sending in $100,000 a game.
Right.
It's off these $5 parlay bettors. So we know how tough it is. But normally you're getting 3 to 1. You have a 2-team parlay. I mean, the standard would be 3 to 1. You're betting it with the
2.5 to 1.
Something like that. Yeah. But in this case, Troy has made a habit and a long time. A profitable habit of betting money line parlays, especially in college football, on games where you have kind of a solid favorite at home.
What he's doing basically is he's taking big favorites and playing them on the money line in a 2-team parlay.
Yeah.
So let's say a team's 14-point favorite. He's money lining 2 games so they're like double-digit favorites, right?
Yeah, close to somewhere. I mean, he likes Nebraska this week in the Friday night game in that proposition. So instead of laying the 9.5 or whatever it is, he's going to parlay them with another team that he likes solidly on a money line parlay.
It's not a bad strategy,
and you get about even money on this thing, like plus 105, something like that.
Yeah, great point. I mean, as much as we preach against parlays, that is one of the types of parlays that makes sense. If you have two solid favorites, you don't want to lay the points.
Right.
Put them together, but
you got to win them both.
I talk to a lot of people, a lot of clients that are doing 4, 5, 6 like that. Like that's too many.
It becomes a problem.
Pick 2.
Yeah.
Pick 2 and roll with it.
Yeah.
What do you think, TK?
Well, the favorite doesn't always win.
No,
the favorite doesn't always win. You got to look at that, especially UFC this weekend. You watch the UFC fights getting off of football. A lot of dogs in the UFC.
Yeah.
College football, a lot of upsets. with the points. But,
Sugar Sean O'Malley, man, what happened to him?
He was a small favorite, but
I like it better for college than for NFL.
I would agree with you on that. I mean, and that's where Troy was playing it, and that's where I got that from. And I thought it's kind of an interesting strategy because it's not like you're a phantom plunger, like you go to the track and you bet 50,000 a show on some 1-9 shot.
Oh, you remember the bridge jumpers?
I mean, I used to follow this closely when I was out in California. The phantom plunger, they had a guy out there that used to come and then everyone get all excited because you see the show pull all of a sudden had like $800 in it. Now it's got 100,800
Right.
In the pool, and he would bet some 1 to 9 shot. And
But how
once in
many
a
in a
while,
row
I
you
mean, if
gotta
the thing
win?
finishes off the board one time,
Right.
you
How
have
many
to
you
win
gotta win?
20 to get even.
Maybe more.
But this isn't really like that. I mean, you would think that over time, if you were a sharp handicapper, that you would be able to come up with 2 games, money line college, at home, strong, solid favorites in good spots where you have the logic all in your favor. You should be able to hit that a couple of times out of 3.
Yeah, if you can't pick 2 with a big college Saturday board, then
Then you really should do something else.
you got problems.
We got to find another living. All right. Well, listen, we're touching on everything. We got Defo here, so we're going to jump all over the place, whatever we're going to do. But I want to focus on Sunday because Sunday's the NFL, and everyone wants to know what we're thinking about the NFL. And I'm going to start with TK and see what his best bet is on the show for the NFL on Sunday.
I'm going to get to my best bet in a minute. But one thing I'm happy about, I don't think I'm going to have to get you them Super Bowl tickets this year for the Dolphins going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I think we're in trouble, Defo. With
Doesn't look good there, no.
Yeah, Tua is out, I think, what'd you say,
they just
3 or 4
announced
weeks?
he's out at least 4, and I think he's probably going to be out a lot longer than that.
One of the most horrendous for a degenerate series of play calls I've ever seen or experienced, as I was kind of rooting for the over in that Dolphins game the other night.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, so it's like 31-10 with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. You're looking at a cinch over. The Buffalo Bills are obviously going to be able to score some more points. Dolphins get down to the 6. Tua gets hurt. And what do? I mean, and this tells you all you need to know. And this is why I think it's really curious. The line, I think, started at 3 and a hook with the Seattle game. And what do? They bring in Skylar Thompson, run the ball into the middle of the line and get stuffed on first and goal, run the ball into the middle of the line and get stuffed on second and goal, throw a desperation pass that the guy has no chance to complete on third down, and get sacked on fourth down. I mean, you have to let this guy do something. You're down 3 touchdowns. If you're going to bring in a backup quarterback and he has any respect of the team whatsoever, let him do something. And that really was a very telling series of downs, I thought, because
I think it happened twice, right? It happened in the 4th too. They had a late drive and they stalled.
It was insane.
They had a first and goal on the 6th late in the game.
They're putting the over players in body bags and just laughing in your face, but. For this guy to go to Seattle and somehow find his way to make the team all of a sudden explosive offensively,
wow, it's a big move on that game.
I think that's pretty far-fetched.
It opened up at 6. It's down to 4.5, 4.
It's down to 4 now.
Yeah, it's moving.
So people are sending it in on the Dolphins. I find that surprising.
Maybe Tom Brady's coming out of the booth this week.
But what do you have, TK? I mean, you get the best bet of the season?
Best bet, week 3.
So far, yeah.
So I'm going to the Chargers-Pittsburgh game. I had Pittsburgh last week. They took care of business. I'm going to go with them again here this week. I mean, they're coming on. They were on the road the last 2 games. They're coming home.
First home game. Justin
Fields.
Fields.
Both teams 2-0 against the spread, though. But I'm looking for Pittsburgh to come up. Justin Fields coming back out this week. He wants to make a statement again, like I said last week. He really didn't make a statement last week.
No. The defense made a statement.
Well, we talked about the defense with Surtain on Denver last week. But, Pittsburgh looks like a good point. They're -1.5.
Yep.
That's going to be one of my best bets going this week. Actually, it's my best bet so far this week. I already played them, and that's what I'm going with.
That's it?
That defense is potent.
Yeah, they got good
defense is really potent.
Mike Tomlin does more with less than a lot of coaches do.
What's your take on Fields and Russell Wilson situation?
I would have preferred Fields, and I think you may see a little Tanya Harding thing going on there with Russell Wilson. I mean, that ankle wasn't all that severely injured. All of a sudden, he can't play anymore. He can't even walk.
What's going to take for Fields to come out? A couple of bad performances?
I don't know. I mean, he looked like he was starting to come on where, you couldn't necessarily count on him, 1,000% to be always solid. But he was showing a lot of signs of life last year. And I thought he would get the starting nod. Wilson had the experience edge, but I thought he was going to be named the starter to begin with. So I don't think they're feeling any pain about the fact that he's in there now.
Any take on that game?
No, but I just think that I don't see Russell Wilson coming back. I think it's going to take a decent amount. It's going to take
an injury.
Injury, 100% injury.
Multiple losses in a row, a heavy turnover performance where he comes out and throws multiple picks.
That's one of his shit games.
But if they just lose a couple games and he doesn't lose the game himself, I still don't see him getting benched unless, like I said, he just throws the game. I mean, and going back to the Dolphins, is it my turn for a game? Because
Go right ahead.
you know,
It's always your Teddy.
That's
Teddy,
actually
it's always your turn, brother. Come on now.
If you got a winner.
here's my whole
that's
thing
right.
with the Dolphins.
Yeah, Defo, pick a winner.
As much as Tua being out and having Skyler, who's possibly the worst backup in the league, we don't really know yet.
Right.
As much as it might hurt them, I don't know, because before the concussion, it was looking bad. I mean,
Yes.
it was looking like Tua looked like really, really bad.
Threw a few picks, yeah.
A few picks, a pick six.
Right.
I mean, they had 17 points off of his turnovers before he got hurt. So,
Right.
I mean, I was texting, and I felt, because he got hurt the next play, but I was texting a couple of my buddies, Tua sucks, and then right after that he got the
He's
concussion.
turning on poor Tua already.
I
huh?
love this guy, yeah.
And I hate to kick someone when they're down, but he didn't look good. Let's be
No,
honest.
he didn't.
Hasn't looked good yet.
That pick six was an atrocity.
It was
Yeah.
bad.
Yes.
It was really bad.
It looked like he already had the concussion when he threw that
Now,
one.
that being said, this is when teams step up. This team still has a lot of talent on it.
Okay.
They still have possibly the best receiving core in the league. They have a very good running back. Their backup running back, technically, Achan's technically their backup because Mostert's hurt, and he's very good. They improved the offensive line. You know, it wasn't the offensive line's fault that Tua got the concussion like it was in the past. It was simply his fault.
Okay.
So I think that, I'm not saying that they're going to step up for the rest of the year.
Okay.
But I think that it's kind of like the Green Bay game when Love got hurt. The next game, Green Bay came out and stepped up. I think the players step up, you know, almost like a camaraderie type of thing for Tua. And the Seahawks, they barely covered in both games against teams that they should have easily covered against. They have the 31st ranked offensive line
He's done his homework.
in the league.
I love this
And
guy.
I don't think that the Seahawks have
He's on his
seen.
next show.
I do. Yeah.
I don't think the Seahawks have seen the kind of weapons that the Dolphins have. And I think
Okay.
once they see those kind of weapons, I think that they could
This
be
sounds like a
exposed a
big
little
pick.
bit.
Is this a big one?
This is my pick of the day for Sunday.
Oh,
Okay.
Dolphins.
And after all that I just said, I'm going to go back to the stat that Defo loved about the Patriots game, where if that line comes from 6 down through the 5.5,
Okay.
and if the total is coming down,
Right.
the road dog covers the spread 87% of the time.
All right, so I should be cashing my ticket on that game,
There
right?
you go.
It's an interesting
And,
theory.
I'm going up. I'm going to buy it to 7. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be the fool sitting on the 6, 6.5.
I'm gonna go 7 with you on that one too.
I'm thinking, maybe, they
You see
signed
what you
Don
learned being
Strock.
here?
I mean, to come back, he's got a cigarette dangling
Right.
from his lips and firing balls down the field at Tony Nathan, who's wide open behind a linebacker. I don't know. I was so unimpressed with Skylar Thompson
Yeah.
in the preseason. I mean, that became the word around the league, didn't it? That these are the two most atrocious backups when he was battling with Mike White. I thought when they signed Huntley, believe it or not, that he was a much better fit. I don't know what he's done lately. I mean, to be on the Ravens practice squad is not necessarily any great distinction.
No.
And probably not ready to just step in there right away and play.
What's your thoughts on speaking of the Ravens, 0-2 start?
You know what? I can't believe that they're favored on the road in this game over the Cowboys, right?
1 point.
1 point, and
Was
that
two,
was one.
was two.
Yeah, it was like one on a hook when I saw it the other day.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, they look bad. They lost to the Raiders, who were chumps in week number 1. The Raiders they coughed up rushing yardage like there was no tomorrow there. They were hemorrhaging rushing yards. And most people thought, look, it buried everybody in survivor pools that game because you were thinking, what is the path of least resistance in week number 2 after the remarkable upset in week number 1, Patriots over the Bengals? What was the Ravens take the safe way out? And what happens when you play it safe, guys?
You don't play it safe.
That's
Comes
it.
back
I mean,
to
throw
haunt
the
you.
flowers in the punch, the party's over, and you're usually going to end up a loser.
What would anybody on the panel think? Ravens 0-2, Bengals 0-2 to start the year off, and it's a little strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have never thought that, especially the Bengals.
And the Steelers 2-0, going to be 3-0.
Yeah, the Bengals knocked
You
me out
would
of
have told me
suicide.
that.
Vikings 2-0, yeah, too, with Sam Darnold throwing the rock.
Yeah.
TK, out of those two teams, who do you think comes back to? Because obviously they're in the same division.
I'd have to go with the Ravens. I think the Ravens, they should have won the first week. The Ravens should have won that game in the first
The
week.
toe,
the toe.
the
So
toe.
you like them to make a comeback better?
They make, if he had
Okay.
different shoes on, that might have been a different game.
If he had a size 10 shoe instead of 12, we would have won.
Can
right?
the Steelers win that division?
Steelers are playing good. I've been following them. I've been trending them.
I mean, think about this.
No.
Who would think it's only week 3, but who would think that the Steelers would be on the
No,
top
I'd have
of
to
that
see.
division?
I'd have to see the Steelers playing against those teams head
Right.
to head to make that determination. If the Steelers can beat those teams, sure as hell they can win that division easily, right?
Steelers find a way to be in every game.
Yeah.
I mean, literally,
Tomlin's
you
tough,
could
man.
look at winning ugly, and the Steelers have been doing that
Never had a
for the
losing
last
season.
several years. Yes,
Ever,
with
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. I mean, that used to be a stat they used to boast about Don Shula that he's never had a losing season, and then he went 6-10 that year, and all of a sudden the game had passed him by. But Tomlin impresses me. I mean, it's not the most exciting stuff to watch. That's for sure, Steeler football, but they're
like old
effective.
Steeler
Yeah,
football.
they find ways. It's a cliche. They find ways to win games, which is remarkable.
Well, here's my. I'm going with TK on this one. I'm jumping on the Steelers. I like the Steelers in this game. I think they're going to 3-0. Who'd have think that I would think that the Steelers could be 3-0 at this point in time? But I like the Steelers at home. I think that it's the right situation. The Chargers are coming, back onto the East Coast, coming back and forth. That takes a toll on you a little bit. And I don't know if the Chargers are really for real. But I know that defense for the Steelers is real, and I think Justin Herbert will do Justin Herbert things, which could turn the ball over, and the Steelers could take advantage and win a sloppy game. So I would take the Steelers on the money line, like that play a lot. And one other game, I told you on your show, I think that the Giants are going to get their teeth kicked in by the Browns this week. I think Watson's going to come out firing. I think they're going to have a tremendous performance. I cannot see the Browns losing their first 2 home games. They got crushed by the Cowboys, came back last week in a decent performance to win. I think they come bouncing back at home with that crowd raucous, and the Giants will always find ways to make mistakes somehow, some way, and I think those mistakes will haunt the Giants, and I like Cleveland -6 to get the job done.
I like that too. And everyone forgot about the Browns having such a great defense, but they kind of showed it last week, and now I think they can really put the foot on the
Myles
neck.
Garrett should be chasing Daniel Jones from
All
here
day.
to the Meadowlands.
All
and
You
day.
back.
have to worry, though. There have to be some concerns there that Deshaun Watson shows up. I mean, I don't know if Diddy's talking yet,
Oh, God.
but the 2
Is that
words that are
crazy?
really tough when you group them together are he's
Wow.
talking. And we know his penchant for baby oil and all of this other stuff that was involved in the P. Diddy thing. So,
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
The fall from greatness.
Fall from grace.
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy stuff.
No bond are 2 words
He
you
tried
never
to
want to
put
hear
up
when you're in court
50
either.
50
no
million.
Tried to
bond.
put up $50 million. He paid off his mortgage so he could put up his house. Guys, really quick, we got 2 picks. One pick that TK and Scotty agree on, that's going to be the Steelers. And then we have a pick that myself and Scotty agree on, which is going to be Utah. So those are 2
College
picks that
football.
line up. Guys, whenever those picks line up like that, they usually have a higher percentage. So
And we both like USC.
and we both like USC, me and Defo. So
Yeah.
we got some good agreements here. So check those games out for sure.
All right, just before we go, obviously we touch base on everything. I just want to touch a little baseball.
Well, hold on. I got one more thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we
go-
got Monday Night Football. Don't forget about that.
Okay,
I'll keep it really quick. I'm teasing the Jags and the Bengals. I'm teasing the Jags through the key number of 7 up to +12, and I'm bringing the Bengals down to -0.5 point. So that means all the Jags got to do is cover 12, and just the Bengals just have to win that game.
All right.
Very
That's it.
good.
That's Monday night.
Monday night tough games.
I'm staying off the Monday night at
staying
this
too.
point in time. I didn't really feel comfortable on that matchup, so I'm going to take a hiatus to that.
Yeah.
You got anything?
At my age, I don't know if I'm going to make Mondays. So I'm day to day, Scotty. You know that.
You look great, my brother. Keep it up. Whatever you're doing, it's working.
Yeah.
Listen, we're down to the last few games of baseball, and we got a guy chasing after an unbelievable record. I don't think it's ever been done before. Shohei Ohtani, 48 home runs, 48 stolen bases, going after the first ever 50-50. Is this guy unbelievable or what?
I mean, he's been great. Look, he's going to DH. He has the Tommy John. We thought, wow, I mean, that kind of money for a player, but it's worth it. You got a guy who can pitch to a winning record and a low ERA and strike out a lot of people. And then as a hitter, what we've seen what he can do this year. I was a huge fan back in the day. One of my favorite players of all time was the great Lou Brock.
Yep.
And I actually got to know Davey Lopes a little bit when he was a number 1 base stealer or
2 great
one
base
among the top
stealers.
base stealers. And I'm a huge fan of the stolen base. I liked it when guys stole 100
Ricky
bases
Henderson.
in a season. Yeah, I mean, Maury Wills, was part of my baseball youth and fandom. Was stealing 100 plus. But nice to see that it's being emphasized again. I mean, there are a lot of runs being scored based on the fact that everybody's looking for the 3-run homer. But good to see that the stolen base is a factor, and I like the fact that Ohtani has kind of brought this to light. The 50-50 is a hell of an accomplishment. They used to make a big deal out of 20-20.
Yeah, well, the guy from Kansas City did a 30-30, I think.
30-30.
Three straight?
Bonds was pretty big in this category. I mean, look, it's very rare that you would have a power hitter that also had that kind of speed and an instinct on the base pass, because most of these guys don't even run it out. I mean, they hit one, that looks like it's going out of the park, hits off the wall at Fenway, rolls back to the infield, and they're still on first base because they didn't bother to run. But nice to see that being an element of the game.
Yeah.
And some interesting stuff. I was talking when I came to the studio. I saw you in the streets. I was talking to a 90-year-old guy. We call him Ira the Met fan. He's the most diehard Met fan ever. And he's literally living and dying, which at 90, you're pretty much doing that every second. But with every Met game, including tonight's game.
What they have a half-game lead? Or are they tied?
I think they're a game up on the Braves in the wild card chase.
The Braves are plummeting right now.
Yeah.
That was actually my play of the night last night, the Reds. The Braves are just falling apart.
I was never a
At
fan
the
of like
seams.
bastardizing playoffs, though, by adding more teams, but I think it's really worked in baseball.
Yeah.
And also even in basketball in the NBA, where you have the 9th and 10th play-in games, because it makes some of these meaningless late season, regular season games actually
I agree.
have some importance and make you more inclined to bet on them,
I
too.
agree. Eight teams wasn't enough for baseball.
So shoe in for MVP, Ohtani, National League, I'm sure, and I'm sure Judge, American League.
You would have to think, right?
Right? They got to be shoe-ins.
Ohtani hit one last night, didn't he?
Yeah.
Hit a home run last night?
After 48.
48. He had
Well,
a
you're playing the
stolen.
Marlins, so he'll probably hit another one today.
Marlins
tonight.
win, though, at plus
Yeah, I
162.
don't believe it.
That should have been
Big
plus
dog.
562. I mean, who would have thought they pitched a guy I didn't even know was in the major leagues?
Let me ask you, in your legendary career of doing this so long, God bless you, what's your favorite sport of all the sports? I know you were big into boxing at one time. and stuff like
Boxing
that.
was always a thing I had a natural affinity towards, going all the way back to the Gillette Fight of the Week.
Okay.
We used to watch that. It was followed by professional wrestling usually.
You did that? You did wrestling?
I never called. I did call a wrestling match here in Miami, which I realized, I was actually handed a script of what was going to happen.
Really?
And then some crazy guy, I thought he was actually, I don't know, he's a diminutive sort. I guess they would have called him back in the day a midget wrestler. I'm not sure if that's politically correct anymore. So this guy's hassling me before the broadcast. And you know how you get before a broadcast. You guys, thinking, what am I going to say? How do I
Right.
look? There's a camera, okay? So I'm getting ready to do this thing. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. And the guy's giving me all kinds of crap and instructions. And then he acted like he was the director of the match. And then I find out later, I said, well, the director told me to do this. He said, he's not the director. He's in the first match. He's a midget wrestler. So I realized that was not an easy sport to do. But boxing...
When was that? Like back in the George the Animal Steel days
I
and stuff?
remember,
Bruno
no, this was
Sammartino?
not at that level, but...
Was it?
Yeah,
This is like a secondary kind of thing?
I believe maybe it was like on the tail end of the Macho Man Randy Savage's run, and he was wrestling like at carnivals
Yeah.
and things like that.
Okay.
But,
Did you
yeah.
watch the Canelo fight this week?
I didn't watch it. You know what, Canelo? It's interesting because people love him and hate him at the same time. And I don't know that he's the greatest Mexican fighter of all time.
He's a
What
good fighter,
do you
though.
think of Canelo?
He was a good fighter.
But
He
you
fought
have to give him credit.
A huge favorite out
Yes.
over the weekend, but he had a good fight.
And he's managed his
fights are-
career extremely well.
Yes.
I go way back with it. I mean, I loved it as a kid. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe you have a natural affinity towards some sport, or maybe you had the degenerate gene, even though
No, I
nobody in
love
your
boxing.
family gambled or approved of it.
Right.
But I always loved boxing from the time I was a little kid.
I always liked them too.
Yeah.
I used to go to the fights in Vegas all the time. I went to Mayweather and Mayweather Pacquiao. I've been to some of the big fights. I actually, Diego Corrales and Castillo.
Castillo,
I
that
at
was a
fight.
fantastic fight. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
One of the best ever. Maybe the best round
One
of
of the-
boxing ever.
Right.
Joe Goosen in the corner.
Yeah, you could see me.
His
on the
guy's
YouTube.
staggering around like he's been hammered.
The mouthpiece came out a few times.
Yeah,
got that
Corrales, and he says, "You better bleep and do something about this right now." And I'm thinking, what's he supposed to do? I mean, it's amazing he's not seeing stars. And then comes back and knocks Castillo out. That was great.
Unbelievable. Hey, tell us about the show you're on, because we appreciate you being on our show.
I'm going to have
obviously.
to get Ted and TK on this show. What are you talking about?
TK's the man.
Yeah, I mean, who needs me? No, you guys are great. Fantastic. It was great being on this show. We have a show, nofilter.net. It's on various other platforms. Bury Your Bookie. Scotty's on it every Tuesday. We bring on a variety of different handicappers and try and give you the scope on what's going on And every now and then I'm stuck making a pick.
That's all right.
Which, it's funny. I mean, you guys take a lot of pride in what you do. I can see that. And it's almost worse having your reputation on the line than it is money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our reputation's on the line every week.
Every week.
Every day.
Because
Every
people
game.
are going to just
Every
absolutely.
game.
I mean, the most disparaging remarks you could ever get is being a losing handicapper for one week.
The abuse that we get on our social media platforms when we lose, it's laughable.
Yeah.
It really is. But
Like clown is like
you
a
gotta
compliment.
have thick
Yeah.
skin.
Oh yeah.
Even when you win, you get
I'll be happy with
criticized.
clown.
Yeah.
Clown is like, oh, thanks. Yeah.
Even when you win, you got lucky.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, don't forget, Defoe. They're paying us money, so they want to vent.
Yeah.
At
Well,
the end
no,
of
it's
the
usually
day.
the guys on social media that aren't paying that say
Well, them too.
they're the
They're
loudest.
the most critical, no
Right.
doubt about it.
the
yeah.
loudest voices, the loudest critics are sitting in the cheapest seats, as they
But
say.
but I really schwitz more when I'm watching a game or seeing a game being decided that I gave a pick on than
Yeah.
one that I actually have money on.
Right, right.
I really do. I mean, that you hate to be wrong
Yeah.
in those situations.
We wear it every day, Defoe. Believe me. And we really appreciate you being on with us this week. And I
A lot
hope-
of fun, man. I mean, you guys are great, fantastic. This is one of the best gambling shows I've ever gotten wind of, and you guys do a terrific job. It's fantastic.
well,
Thank you.
Coming from you, that's a big time compliment. All right, TK. Where can the people find you out there on social media and what you have going on? Because I know you put stuff out all the time, trying to help the audience get that winning edge.
Yeah, the best place to find me, just go right to my website, tkwins.com. If you got the social media, at tkwins on Instagram. Free plays every day. A lot of information up there as well. So just check it out.
All right, you heard it. 30 years doing this for a living, guys. Check him out. And here he is, my man, Teddy Brooks, the CEO of the Sports Profits. Teddy, where can the people find you?
I'll give you that. I got two more future picks I just have to throw out there before I do it. Real quick, guys. NL Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens, plus 190. Heisman Trophy winner. I'm already making a pick on it.
Oh, boy.
Because you got to get it early before the lines move. I'm going with Jackson Dart. I think Lane Kiffin really has him in order.
Not Shakur Saunders?
No
Nope.
Cam Warren?
No. I'm
And
going.
the Hurricanes quarterback, you got to throw him in that mix.
He's a
going-
favorite now, right? Plus
we didn't even
450.
talk
Cam
about
Ward's the favorite, yes, sir. But I'm going Jackson Dart, Lane Kiffin. He's made a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in the past with Matt Leinart.
What's the odds?
And I think plus 700. So
Okay.
I see a lot of value there. Now you can find me at Instagram, _profits_pick. No S on pick, no underscore after pick. Don't fall for the fake accounts. And then www.thesportsprofits.com, youtube.com/@thesportsprofits.
All right, guys, we had an unbelievable show.
That was a great time, guys. Thank you.
I appreciate Defoe. He's my man. I'm going to be on his show. Remember, check him out. Defoe, he's a legend in South Florida, over 40 years. I thought I was doing this long. He's doing it longer than me. When it comes to broadcasting, check out nofilter.net. Bury your bookie. Remember that. Check that show out. It's pretty cool, and they get into it each and every day. What time does the show come on usually?
Well, we do it about 9:15 every morning Eastern, and it's up there for a day
Okay.
or so, and then it goes on social media. They do a pretty good job with nofilter.net on social media,
Okay.
with Instagram and TikTok and all of that stuff. So it gets a lot of play on there as well.
All right, check that show out, guys. It'll be definitely a good time for you. All right, I'm Scott Matthews. I am the host of this great show. Each and every week we're here. Get the edge. Remember, get the edge. We're looking to give you the winning edge when it comes to these games. And you can follow me on TikTok. Make sure you come to me and not the site that just went up trying to be me. SM Picks, Picks. That is my official site on TikTok. And also on Instagram, SM Sports with an S, Picks, Picks. Check it out. We're going to be back next week. Check the show out on all podcast forums, guys. All of them. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, you name it. We're out there. It was a great show today. We'll see you back here next week.
Yeah, we need a knife to throw it back.
I'm going to bring a butter knife.
I'm going to bring a plastic red knife.
Went through it, right? Thank you.